Lindsay walked into the kitchen barefoot, hair still wet from the shower, dancing to some random song playing from her phone. She dropped her tote bag on the floor, kicked the fridge shut with her heel, and grinned at me like we were living in some damn rom-com. I'd just come in from the garage, grease on my hands, sweat under my shirt. Long day, couple brake jobs, busted alternator, and a customer who couldn't tell a lug nut from a lock nut. I was tired, but she was bouncing like she just won a lottery. "Babe, you'll never guess what happened. I helped this guy outside the coffee shop who didn't have enough for bus fare and..." She kept going. Her eyes lit up like a kid telling a fairy tale. I nodded along, smiled a little. I didn't have the heart to remind her we weren't exactly rolling in cash, and she just spent $12 on matcha and banana bread. "My name's Sean. I'm 32. I live in Springfield, Missouri. I'm a mechanic at Cormack's Auto and Body. Been there almost 10 years now. I own the duplex I live in. Bought it 5 years ago after saving every extra dollar I could squeeze from overtime. Nothing fancy, but it's solid. Real. Like me." Lindsay's 29. She does odd jobs, freelance gigs, babysitting, a bit of dog walking, barista shifts when she can land them. She means well, always has. Big heart, soft touch. But her world runs on impulse. Mine runs on habit. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. We've been together 3 years. She moved in a year and a half ago, right into my half of the duplex. We didn't talk about rent. I covered most bills. Figured we'd even things out later. When she suggested the bike fund, I thought it was one of those pipe dream ideas. "We should ride cross-country together," she said, eyes glowing like we were already out on the open road. But I was in. We got an envelope, stuck it in the small safe I kept in the bedroom closet, right next to my dad's old knife and some paperwork. I started tossing in $100 every paycheck, no matter what. Lindsay, she put in 20s, maybe 50s when she remembered. Still, it added up. Last week, we counted it together. $3,600. I did the math in my head. I dropped in 2,400 of it. She chipped in about 12. Not even. But whatever, I wasn't keeping score. Or at least I hadn't been. That night, she danced back into the kitchen, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and held it up like a trophy. "We're gonna make it happen, babe. You and me. Coast to coast." I cracked mine open, clinked it against hers, and forced a grin. I didn't know it yet, but I just toasted the end of it all. Next morning, I was flat on my back under a lifted F-150, socket wrench in one hand, sweat dripping past my ear into the collar of my shirt. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. It buzzed again, then again. I sighed, rolled out from under the truck, and checked it with my gloves still on. "My cousin Mark's in jail. I'm using the bike fund to help. You get it, right?" I blinked. "Read it again." No question mark. "No, can I?" "No, what do you think?" Just, "I'm doing this." I didn't reply right away. Just stood there next to the jack, grease on my hands, brain stuck between disbelief and whatever comes after you're too tired to care. Mark, of course. Mark was always around. Always broke. Always needing something. She called him her ride or die, like they were in some action movie. But all I saw was a guy who never paid for gas, ate our leftovers, and once helped himself to my damn toolbox without asking. She said, "He's family." I said, "So's cancer." I finally texted back, "Blood first." I meant it to sound neutral, maybe cold, definitely final. She replied a minute later, "You're the best. I knew you'd understand." I slid the phone back in my pocket, rolled under the truck, and tightened the last bolt on the oil pan. My hands moved, but my head was somewhere else. I didn't feel mad. That's the weird part. Just disconnected. Like someone turned the volume down on the whole situation. When I got home that night, Lindsay was gone. Probably off chasing down bail money, or God knows what else. I walked into the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out the little black safe. Combination still the same. I sat cross-legged on the bed and popped it open. Pulled out the envelope. Counted the cash, slow, careful. 3,600, just like last week. I took out 2,400. Left 12. I didn't even hesitate. I tucked her portion back in the envelope, sealed it, and closed the safe. Then I went to my laptop and opened the listing I'd bookmarked a month ago. A used 2015 touring bike, pearl black, 40,000 miles, full service history, out in Tulsa, private seller, cash only, one-way delivery, no questions. I called the guy and told him I had the money and wanted it dropped at my address by Friday. He said sure, no problem if I wired a deposit tonight. I sent the full amount instead. Told him to consider it a done deal. He agreed. No receipt, no paper trail, just an address and a handshake over the phone. After that, I called my boss. Hey, Mike, think I could take my vacation days starting this week? He paused. You okay? Yeah, just need a reset. Time to get out of here for a bit. He exhaled into the receiver. You've earned it. Take what you need. I thanked him and hung up. Then I went back out to the garage and started clearing space. Swept the floors. Pulled down the old tarp. Checked my gear. Gloves, tools, spare parts. I laid everything out like I was going to war. I didn't bother texting Lindsay. Didn't ask what jail Mark landed in or what the charges were. Didn't ask how she thought this was okay. Or why she never even pretended to talk it through. She made her move. I made mine. That night, I cracked a beer in the garage, leaned back on a stool, and stared at the empty space where the new bike would sit. No music, no thoughts racing, just that quiet kind of stillness you feel before something shifts. 2 days later, I was in the garage wiping down the tank of the new bike when my phone started blowing up. First a text, then 3 more, then a call, then another, then another. I let it ring out. Then came the voicemail. I didn't even press play, just put the phone on speaker and set it on the workbench while I tightened the chain. Lindsay's voice came through. Full scream, barely holding together. Are you kidding me? Where's the money, Sean? Bail's 12,000. The bondsman needs 1,200 or he won't touch it. And all I found was my half. Where's the rest? Where the hell's your share? She broke down mid-message, sobbing so loud it cut out the mic. Mark's stuck in there, Sean. His mom's crying. I'm the only one trying to do anything. You said blood first. I wiped my hands on a rag. Didn't even look at the phone. I wasn't surprised. Just numb. She wasn't mad because her cousin was in jail. She was mad because she thought I'd sit back and let her rob me blind for it. Because I'd said 2 words and she assumed I'd roll over. I didn't reply. I didn't call back. I just went back to tuning the throttle, checking tire pressure, adjusting the mirrors. The bike had shown up that morning, just like promised. Crated tight, driver dropped it off and barely said a word. I signed for it in silence and rolled it right into the garage. I'd been working on it ever since. That afternoon, I called a locksmith. Paid him $150 to swap out the front and back door locks. Guy asked if I lost my keys. I said nope, just locking out the past. By the time the sun dipped behind the trees, I heard the sound I knew was coming. Her tires screeching into the driveway like the damn world owed her something. I stayed in the garage. Didn't even flinch when she started pounding on the front door. Sean, open the damn door. What is wrong with you? I need the money, we need the money. You said it was ours. The door rattled under her fists. You're being insane. You can't do this. I have a legal right. This is our place. You can't just lock me out. I clicked the garage remote, lowered the door halfway, and kept polishing the headlight. She circled around the house, tried the side entrance. Nothing. Then the back. Still nothing. She yelled again, voice cracking. I can see you in there. Why are you acting like I'm a stranger? You said you loved me. I didn't move. Just turned the key and listened to the engine hum. Smooth, clean, ready. A minute later, she kicked something, probably the planter by the porch. Heard ceramic shatter. Heard her curse. Heard her crying again. This time quieter. Then I heard her leave. I waited another 5 minutes before opening the garage door fully. The driveway was empty. Just tire tracks in the gravel and a broken flower pot scattered across the concrete. I walked up to the front door, checked the new lock, turned it once, twice solid. Then I went back to the garage, killed the engine, and sat on the floor next to the bike. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from restraint. She really thought I was just going to stand there while she emptied the safe and handed it to a guy who once pawned his own Xbox for weed money. Not this time. Not ever again. Next morning, I was finishing my coffee when someone knocked hard on the door. Not neighbor hard. Authority hard. 2 uniformed cops stood outside. One tall, mid-40s, the other younger, barely 30. And right behind them, Lindsay. Arms crossed, eyes swollen, face blotchy from crying. "Mr. Danner?" the older cop said. "We got a call about a possible theft." Lindsay jabbed her finger toward me like she was swearing me into court. "He stole from me. He took everything from our safe, our joint savings. He locked me out of my own house." I set the mug down on the counter, stepped outside, and kept my tone even. "I live here. I own this place. She was staying with me. I didn't steal anything. I locked up what's mine." The older cop squinted. "You own the property?" "Yeah." I went inside and came back with a folder, ID, deed, and a copy of the mortgage statement with my name all over it. I handed it to him. "Been mine 5 years." Lindsay laughed. That fake little choke laugh she did when she was cornered. "He's lying." He's trying to sound calm, but he's a thief. He stole $3,600 from me and my family. Money we were saving for something important. I pulled out another folder, my logbook. Every deposit dated, written in pen. My signature under each one. "Here's the full record of what went in. I added 2,400 of that." She put in 12. "Last week, we counted it together." The younger cop took the log, flipping through the pages while I handed the older one a printed photo from my phone. A shot of the open envelope in the safe, time-stamped. "You'll see," I said. I left her part. Exactly 1,200. She texted me Wednesday saying she was going to use all of it to bail out her cousin. Didn't ask. Didn't discuss it. Just decided. The older cop scrolled through the printout I'd stapled behind the photo, the actual message. Lindsay's words in black and white. He exhaled. "Ma'am, that text yours?" Her eyes flickered. Yeah. But he knew what I meant. I was desperate. He agreed. He looked at me, then back at her. "Ma'am, this is a civil matter. Not theft. You shared funds without a formal agreement, and he took only what he contributed. There's nothing criminal here." She went red. "Are you serious?" "He locked me out. That's illegal." The younger cop shook his head. "Not if he owns the property and you're not on the lease or deed." Her arms dropped. For a second, she looked small. Then her voice cracked into that shrill tone again. "I just want my stuff. He's got all my clothes, my laptop, my things." I nodded. Already boxed up. Everything she left behind. In the living room, the cops followed me in. 3 cardboard boxes lined the wall. I taped them clean, labeled in Sharpie, clothes, personal electronics. The younger cop crouched and cut one open just to check. Clothes neatly folded. He nodded. "Looks fine." She stormed past him and started digging through another box, tossing sweaters, perfume bottles, random junk. "Where's the photo frame? The one with us on the Harley?" "You don't get to keep that." My stomach tightened. I knew exactly what she meant. The picture sat on the shelf above my workbench. Me and my dad on his old bike the year before he died. Lindsay was just in the shot because she'd insisted on taking it with us. I pointed toward the garage door. "That photo stays. That was my dad's bike. He gifted it to me. Title's in my name. It's the only photo I've got left of him." She started toward the door. "It's our picture, Sean. You can't just." The older cop stepped between us. "Ma'am, unless you can prove ownership, it's his. You're here to collect personal belongings, not shared memories." She froze, then threw her arms up, tears streaming. "This is unbelievable. You're all taking his side because he's calm and I'm emotional. This is insane." The younger one zipped the final box, handed it to her. "Ma'am, you've got your property. Let's wrap this up." She snatched the box, shot me a glare so sharp it could cut through steel, and spat out, "You'll regret this. You think you're smart? Watch." I didn't move, didn't speak. Just stood there as she stomped past the officers and out the door. They followed her to the driveway. I watched from the threshold, hands steady, heartbeat finally slowing. When her car peeled off, the older cop turned back. "You handled that right, sir. Keep your paperwork in case she tries anything else." "I will," I said. He nodded once, then left. I shut the door, locked it, and went back to the garage. The photo was still there, me, Dad, and that old Harley frozen in a world that made more sense. I wiped the dust off the frame and hung it higher on the wall. Then I rolled the new bike forward, engine cold and waiting. Quiet. Solid. Mine. Next morning, my phone rang just after 9. Unknown number, but I picked up anyway. "Sean." A soft voice, fake sweet, Midwest drawl I recognized instantly. "Lindsay's mom." "Yeah." "Oh honey, it's Cheryl. I just wanted to check in. I'm sure all this is a misunderstanding." I didn't say anything. Just let her talk. You know Lindsay's heart. She's always been the emotional one. She acts fast, but she means well. This whole Mark thing, it's just gotten out of hand. He's like a brother to her, you know? I leaned against the counter, watching the coffee drip. She emptied our savings without asking me. That's not a misunderstanding. Cheryl gave this fake little sigh. She was trying to help family. You of all people should understand that. I mean, you said blood first, didn't you? That phrase was really getting mileage this week. She made a choice, I said. So did I. I didn't take her money. I took mine. She left it in the envelope. I left hers. "Well, sweetheart," she said, her voice tightening. "You could fix this. Just send her the rest. That way nobody's left feeling cheated. It's not worth all the stress, is it?" I kept my voice level. "I already fixed it. I took back what's mine and locked the door. That's the end of it." She kept going. "You've always been steady, Sean. The reliable one. Lindsay. She's just lost right now. Everything's falling apart. Mark's still locked up, and this whole thing's put so much strain on her. She's not sleeping. She's..." I hung up. Not a slam the phone kind of hang up. Just quiet. Done. I went out to the garage, opened the side door, and sat on the stool next to the bike. Just sat there, staring at nothing. A few hours later, I checked my phone. One text. From Lindsay's sister, Claire. "We're suing you, thief. You stole from Lindsay and our family. You're not getting away with this." No hello. No intro. Just straight to the pitchfork. I stared at it for maybe 3 seconds, then blocked her number. I wasn't mad. Not surprised. Just disappointed. Like watching a fuse burn down in slow motion. Knowing exactly when it's going to blow and not caring enough to stop it. They all thought I'd fold. Thought I'd just cave to noise, emotion, pressure. That because I kept quiet, I'd back down. They forgot something. I keep receipts. That Friday, I cashed out the last of my vacation hours. Saturday, I picked up a new helmet, fresh chain lube, and a cheap motel duffel from Walmart. Sunday morning, I loaded up the bike. Kept it simple, just tools, a few changes of clothes, a small first aid kit, and a framed photo of me and Dad sitting on his old Harley. I wrapped it in a sweatshirt, tucked it deep into the saddlebag. I didn't leave a note, didn't post some dramatic goodbye. I just backed the bike down the driveway, strapped the bags tight, and hit the road. No plan, no destination, just west. I made it to Kansas by sunset, pulled off into a no-name town and grabbed a motel room that smelled like mildew and lemon cleaner. The kind of place with paper-thin walls and a flickering bathroom light. I showered, cracked open a gas station beer, and lay on the bed with the fan humming like static. That's when my phone buzzed. Message from Joey, one of the guys at the shop. "Dude, Lindsay's all over Facebook and Insta talking crazy. Says you robbed her blind, stole her stuff, threw her out. She's tagging people. It's a whole soap opera." I stared at the screen, let the silence settle. Then I blocked her, her sister, her mom. That was the last door I had left to close. Next morning, I filled up at a truck stop and kept riding. Long stretches of nothing but fields and power lines, the wind cutting through my jacket. By the time I hit Colorado, I'd stopped thinking about what town I was from or who knew my name. I just checked the oil, kept the throttle steady, and moved. Couple nights I slept under the stars at campsites. Couple others I paid cash for motels with flickering neon signs and busted vending machines. I kept receipts out of habit, but for once, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything. Every time I stopped for gas, I felt lighter. No one was calling. No one was waiting. In Utah, I rode through open desert, watched the sun bleed out over the rocks like fire. In Nevada, I blew through towns with boarded-up diners and rusted swing sets. In California, I caught the scent of ocean air before I even saw the water. And when I finally did, when I rolled up to the edge of the Pacific and killed the engine, I just sat there. Didn't take a photo. Didn't text anyone. Just let the waves crash and the wind whip through my jacket. It wasn't peace. It was something better. Silence. Mine. 2 months later, I rolled back into town with the same bags I left with and twice the clarity. The grass was taller, my mailbox was stuffed, and someone left a Domino's flyer jammed in the screen door. Inside, the air was stale, garage smelled like oil and dust, and my answering machine blinked red. I ignored it, went straight to the table and dumped the mail. Buried in junk and bills was the thick white envelope. Circuit Court of Greene County stamped in bold. Summons. Lindsay was suing me. $2,400 for stolen funds. $1,500 for emotional distress. $1,000 for loss of property. And get this, the loss? That photo of me and my dad with the Harley. She really listed it like it was hers. I sat down at the kitchen table, poured some bourbon, and opened the manila folder I'd kept since day one. Receipts, photos, the envelope log, her text, a copy of the title to my dad's bike. Every single thing with a date and signature. I laid it all out, line by line, and started organizing. If she wanted war, fine. I'd show up armored. Court date was set 2 weeks out. When I walked into the small claims courtroom, she was already there. Tight black skirt, high heels, and a stack of papers clutched like a Bible. Her mom sat behind her, arms crossed, lips thin enough to disappear. She didn't look at me when I sat. Judge walked in, older guy, glasses halfway down his nose, clipboard in hand. Called our case. Plaintiff, you may begin. Lindsay stood like she was walking on stage. Your Honor, Sean and I were in a long-term relationship. We shared a home, shared finances, and agreed to save together for a future trip. He broke that agreement, emptied our savings, locked me out, and took property that belonged to both of us. He manipulated me emotionally. He even said blood first when I was trying to help my cousin, then used it as an excuse to rob me. She sniffled. Judge didn't blink. He stole $2,400 in cash, left me with nothing. I had to borrow money from family. I've had panic attacks, sleepless nights, and he even took a photo that's irreplaceable to me. I'm asking for what's fair. She sat like she expected applause. Judge turned to me. Mr. Danner? I stood and slid my folder across the table. That's a log of every deposit I made into the envelope we kept in my safe. Dated. Signed. I added $100 from every paycheck. She put in what she could. When I last counted, it was $3,600. I had 24. She had 12. I pointed to the printed photo. That's the envelope before I took anything. Her portion's still there. The judge nodded. I continued. She texted me saying she was going to use all of it to bail out her cousin. Didn't ask, just told me. I responded with, blood first. That wasn't agreement. That was me done. I left her share. Took mine. Bought a bike. I own this house. I paid to change the locks. She wasn't evicted. She was removed after choosing not to live here anymore. Then I slid the title over. That photo she mentioned? It's of me and my dad on his bike. He gave it to me. Title signed over. It's in my name. The photo's mine. Judge leaned back in his chair. Flipped through my stack. Read her text. Tapped the edge of the folder. Then he looked at Lindsay. Ms. Carmichael, this appears to be a civil disagreement over personal funds contributed voluntarily, with no legal contract or lease. Based on the evidence, Mr. Danner took only what he contributed. No theft occurred. As for the emotional distress and photo, there's no legal grounds to support your claims. She opened her mouth, but he raised a hand. Case dismissed with prejudice. Bang of the gavel. Done. Lindsay just sat there, frozen like someone unplugged her. Her mom stood up so fast the chair clattered and hissed, "This isn't over," before storming out like we were on Judge Judy. I stayed seated, watched Lindsay gather her papers with shaking hands and rush out without another word. When the room cleared, I stood, grabbed my folder, and walked out slow. Sun was bright. Air felt clean. One last receipt. Filed. A week after court, word started spreading. Small town. You don't need Facebook. Just a gas station, a coffee line, and a loud cousin. Joey told me first. "Dude, Lindsay blew it," he said while handing me a torque wrench at the shop. Showed up late 3 times in a row. Cussed out a manager. Got canned. Didn't shock me. Another guy we knew from high school texted me the day after. "Bro, Mark's back in county. DUI and violated probation. Whole family's losing it." Of course he was. It trickled in like that. Little bits. Like static in the background. Lindsay had burned through whatever goodwill she had left. Heard she screamed at her mom in the Walgreens parking lot. Then blocked her sister after some group chat blow-up. Nobody was defending her anymore. Not even the ones who used to nod along just to keep the peace. I didn't gloat. I didn't post anything. I just listened, nodded, and kept my damn head down. That Saturday, I rode past the old diner where we used to do Sunday breakfasts. The place with the booth by the window she always picked so she could watch the world go by. I slowed down at the light, looked through the glass. Same green vinyl seats. Same waitress with the big hair and tired eyes. Didn't feel bitter. Just felt nothing. Like passing a house you used to live in. Familiar but not yours anymore. I rode straight home. Pulled into the garage and shut the door behind me. Spent the next few hours cleaning. Organized my tools. Tossed out old rags. Swept every corner. Music low. Beer open. Air thick with dust and oil. Then I took the framed photo of me and Dad, the one she tried to claim, and hung it dead center above the tool bench. Drove the nail into the beam with 3 hard hits. Leveled it with my hand. Stepped back. It looked right. That night, I sat at the workbench and opened my atlas. Big folded map I'd used since I was 19. Marked routes with red Sharpie. Highways, back roads, ghost towns. I flipped to the southwest. Maybe Arizona this time. Or Baja. Didn't matter. I wasn't running. I wasn't hiding. I was just moving forward with both hands on the throttle. I stared at the red lines across the map, fingers tracing the curve down through New Mexico, cutting into the Baja Peninsula. That's where I was heading next. Already booked the ferry, already cleared the time off. No passenger this time. Just me, the bike, and the road. I didn't miss Lindsay. I missed the idea of her, the version I thought I had. The one who believed in dreams and adventures and Sunday mornings. But that wasn't real. That was a picture I painted, and she just stood in front of it long enough for me to believe it. What I had to face out there, on those 2-lane highways in the silence of desert nights, was this. I don't need someone who hits the brakes every time I get moving. I don't need someone reaching for the wheel when I finally find my pace. I need forward motion, clean brakes, quiet air. I still loved fixing things. Still kept the garage spotless, tools lined up, cables coiled. But I stopped trying to fix people who didn't want fixing. I stopped giving second chances to the ones who'd already made up their mind to wreck the ride. Now it's solo routes. No more shared savings. No more joint envelopes in my safe. In fact, I bought a new safe. Changed the code. Small detail, but it meant something. This time, it only holds my stuff. No extra envelopes, no soft promises. Just my gear, my documents, and a little space for souvenirs from wherever I land next. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel robbed or betrayed or even sad. I felt steady and free. What would you have done if someone tried to drain your savings without asking? Drop your take in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories.